Here on location at OSHEAGA 2024 backstage with the one, the only Michae Brun. How's it going?
What's going on? I'm good. I'm excited.
Awesome, feeling good. Now, I had to open up with this. We have a Caribbean connection here.
No way.
During this interview. We got Haiti meets Barbados
in
the cut right now.
What's
Yeah,
up?
man, absolutely.
Yeah, love it.
I mean, so I had to ask you this. Obviously, one of my favorite things about Caribbean culture in general is just the love of music. Anybody who even knows it peripherally can tell that, you know, they really value those sounds. What is your perception on the Caribbean passion for music?
I feel like it's one of the cultures that music is most integral in. It's a celebration on like the most basic level, just in terms of like events, right? Weddings, even funerals. But then I also think that it's a release. It's like a form of therapy for a lot of the Caribbean. So it ends up being basically like always present. It's like in every household.
Seriously.
The church to
the
everything
car.
in the middle. Yeah, like it's everywhere.
It's definitely. I mean, it's infectious, that positivity as well, just because of the upbeat nature of the music. Are there any specific artists that you remember really listening to growing up? I mean, obviously there's many, but which ones sort of stand out when I talk about Haitian music?
I think that I had a really eclectic taste growing up because my mom was Guyanese and my dad was Haitian. So they each had influences. So I was listening to like, from my mom's side, it was like rock, 80s pop, 90s pop, like, and then my dad was really into like new wave music and then traditional compa.
Okay.
So from the compa side on like stuff he loved, he used to love a group called Caribbean Sextet that was like jazz influenced Haitian compa. And then I later discovered like Tabu Combo and like the OG compa like innovators, like the people that like really took it to the next level. So if you don't know Tabu Combo, you should check out Tabu Combo.
Yeah, I'm going to have a whole new Spotify playlist after this. We're going in.
Yeah, legends.
Now, let me ask you this. What does it mean to you to be a Caribbean artist, especially in the American music space, moving into there? You know, do you feel a lot on your shoulders representing your home? Or, you know, what is that like for you?
Yeah, I think it's really an honor, to be honest, because there's not too many stories of, like, Caribbean music transitioning into like international spaces.
Exactly.
But the ones that are super notable. It's like really iconic, and like you have people like Bob Marley, right, or Rihanna, or like mega superstars that like changed the game basically.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's a level of I just feel like what I want to do with my career hopefully is to have an impact that helps to shape like the next like 100 years of music. Because we have such an eclectic influence base. Like in the Caribbean we have African, Latin American, European, Native, like Taino, and all the different Native cultures, right? So it's like, it's a true melting pot. And I think that in having that kind of influence base, we tend to like connect with everything. So it's a really cool space to be in and to be part of, and I hope I always represent it positively.
100%. Now, speaking of the United States, you're obviously killing it over in New York. You had a show that you called the greatest show of your life in Brooklyn recently. What made that the greatest show of your life at the Bayo?
It was so the event's called Bayo, and it's like but it means to give in Creole. And I started it. It was a block party in Haiti. That was like 20, 30 people.
Really?
In the street, I was like with my cousin Jay Perry. We had dinner at the spot. We had just done this session. And we were with like Walshy Fire and like a couple other people that were in town in Haiti at that point. And we just set up lights in the street, put the speakers out. And then like that moment, I remember it was so impromptu. It felt like so surprising and like really beautiful in a really simple way. That I was like, I want to replicate this.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, and I started doing it in Haiti more, and then I brought it to the States. And and with like 500 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 10,000 people. So
Insane.
it's like, it's become a festival in its own. And I think this last one, it was at Prospect Park in Brooklyn. So if you know Brooklyn, that's like iconic. We did Central Park the year before.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's like, that show brought together like all kinds of artists from all around the world. There was like Maxwell, J Balvin, Oxlade, Serrani.
Insane.
And then like an insane Haitian lineup, like all the superstar Haitian artists. So surprises too. Like nobody knew.
Right.
Who was gonna, even my team didn't know.
Special guest of the team didn't know.
Nobody,
That's deep.
Nobody knew. So I love surprising people. I feel like that show is like Christmas morning. That's how I like describe it. And I'm grateful. It's growing every year.
How about your pop-up show in Times Square? Because I mean that was something really cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was actually with my boy Paul Beaubourn. He had just released his album that I produced, and he's here with me today. He's gonna be on stage with me today. But I mean, Times Square is such an iconic, space, right? To get to just set up and play music and share our culture. it was an honor, and I'm really proud of Paul. He's amazing. He's like literally like my brother at this point, and we're gonna have a good time today on stage.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know logistically how to put shows together as well as being the performer.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging shoot or performance you've ever had to piece together, and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think maybe it was like a couple years ago, like 3-4 years ago, right before the pandemic of Bio, because that was the point where it was going from like a couple hundred people to a couple thousand.
Right.
So it's like that jump
It's a
feels
special time.
scary. Yeah, because you're like, whoa, like, are people gonna show up? How am I gonna get all of these people in the place safely, right? Like working with the promoters, with the venues, with all these different things. So I think there's a lot of logistics when you put on an event, which is so cool. You know, like OSHEAGA has amazing catering.
Yeah.
It's like incredible catering and like even for me putting on events to see like how nice the artists are treated, it's a lot of work. And I can say that that's something that like I aspire with my event. Is like anybody that comes through, they have an amazing time, they feel really good about it. And that was the point. Like once you figured that like hundreds to 1,000 range, it felt a lot easier.
It must have felt like the beginning of creating music as well, because like, you know, you have those nerves, but it's also a really fun time at the same time. Like you got to balance both.
Yeah. And I think also like when you start anything, right, there's no expectation.
Exactly.
I feel like once you've delivered the first time, then people expect you to deliver.
Oh, for sure.
Time,
You got to set a standard, right?
Yeah. And I think like, especially with artists tend to be like very, they hold themselves at a very high standard, right?
Yeah.
So you tend to be like your biggest critic and you really want things to go well. But I think that ultimately, if you follow your gut and your spirit and you really do your best, things will be fine. Even if it's not exactly what you expect, it's always going to work out.
It'll work out the way it's supposed to.
Exactly.
That's really the way I find. Final question I had for you. In terms of the collaboration process, you've collaborated with so many incredible artists. What is that process like for putting it together? Is it a situation where you can pick someone that you want to collaborate with just based on knowing them, or do you actually have to experiment with creating with that person first?
Yeah, I'd say that in my specific way of approaching music, I'm like friendship first.
Okay.
So like if we can get along and we can have a conversation, we can go to dinner, right? We can connect, then I know that we'll make music.
Okay.
And if we can't, it's okay. Sometimes you can have sessions and you never meet the person again, and it's like it happens. It's super rare, but it does happen. But I can say like in almost everything I've worked on, I've developed like true friendship with the artist.
Okay.
And it's a really beautiful thing because then you can, you know, keep in touch and outside of just the song, right? Like
you can grow from
a relationship. Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Michael, thank you so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it.